She was found inside a steel tank, sealed shut with a welding torch, painted over, marked out of service, sitting on her husband's property, 2 miles from the home she had disappeared from. She was wrapped in a blue tarp and black duct tape. She was wearing pajamas. She was barefoot. There was no purse, no phone, no identification. The tank smelled of ammonia when they opened it. She had been inside that tank for 3 years. This is the story of Dee Ann Warner, a businesswoman, a mother of 5, and the extraordinary 5-year fight to prove she was murdered before anyone had even found her body. Her husband denied everything. For 5 years. Through 2 investigations, a no-body arrest, and the longest search in Michigan State Police history. Until the evidence dismantled every word of it. This is one of the most methodical cover-ups in modern American true crime. This is how it came apart. Dee Ann Warner was 52 years old, born Dee Ann Hardy. She had grown up in Lenawee County, Michigan, the same rural farming county where she would build everything she had and lose everything she had in a single April morning. She was a mother of 5 adult children, a businesswoman, a partner, in both senses of the word. She co-owned a trucking company with 15 employees, a crop farm, and a chemical and seed company alongside her husband, Dale. By any measure, she had built a substantial life from the ground up. She was, by the accounts of everyone who knew her, a fundamentally warm and capable person. The kind of woman who showed up early and stayed late. The kind of woman who knew every employee by name. She had married Dale Warner in 2006. In the years that followed, the marriage deteriorated. Witnesses described at trial a relationship marked by financial disputes, mutual suspicion, and control. Dale tracked her movements obsessively. He placed a tracking device in her Hummer. He used an app to monitor her Cadillac's location. He had her cell phone cloned. He checked her location thousands of times. By early 2021, Dee had made a decision. She was going to file for divorce. She was going to sell the businesses. She was going to leave. One of her daughters, Rickel Bach, testified at trial that one of the last things Dee said to her was this. "One of the last things my mom said to me was, 'I watch Dateline like every night, and he could do something like that to me.'" She said it almost as a passing thought, an acknowledgement of a fear she had been carrying. She was right. April 25th, 2021 was a Sunday. Dee's daughter Rickel Bach drove to her mother's home on Munger Road in Franklin Township for their regular Sunday morning breakfast. It was something they did every week. Dee was not there. Her phone was off. Her bank accounts had gone completely dark. Her car was found, but she was not in it. There was no note, no goodbye calls, no forward planning of any kind, nothing to indicate a planned departure. When Dee family reached Dale, he told them she had left. They had had a hell of a fight, he said. She had walked out with a to-go bag, her curling iron, and her phone. He acted like it was not unusual. He told police it was not unusual for his wife to take off. That same evening, hours after Dee was reported missing, her brother Greg Hardy went looking for Dale. He found him in a field, not tilling the whole field. A small portion, just a strip of it, in the gathering dark after his wife had vanished that morning. And then Dale did something Greg Hardy has never been able to forget. While recounting the argument, while explaining casually how his wife had walked out, Dale reached into his pocket and produced Dee's wedding ring, and he began bouncing it in his palm, back and forth. The way you might bounce a golf ball, casually, absently, like it was habit. His wife had been missing for less than 12 hours. Greg Hardy said later it was in that moment he knew, not suspected, knew. Just days after Dee went missing, police body camera footage caught Dale being questioned. He was nonchalant. He told officers it was not unusual for Dee to disappear. He showed no distress that anyone could identify as real. Meanwhile, prosecutors would later establish Dale Warner was on his iPad searching for information on how to dispose of a 1,000-gallon propane tank, similar in size and structure to an anhydrous ammonia tank. Another search on his devices: chemical cremation. On April 27th, police executed a search warrant at the Munger Road property. Dale was not there. His son Jaron later called to tell him that cadaver dogs were coming. Surveillance cameras and drone footage captured Dale arriving at the property with a front-end loader, a piece of farm machinery called a JCB, and using it to move an anhydrous ammonia tank into a spray barn. That tank contained D. Warner remains, and Dale knew exactly which one it was. What followed was one of the most exhaustive searches in Michigan State Police history. For 3 years, investigators combed through more than 3,000 acres of Michigan farmland connected to the Warners. In May 2022 alone, 130 Michigan State police officers conducted a coordinated single-operation search using ground-penetrating radar, cadaver dogs, and specialized forensic equipment. They found nothing. The investigation had initially been handled by the Lenawee County Sheriff's Office. After more than a year of mounting pressure from the Hardy family and diminishing progress, the Michigan State Police officially took over in August 2022. Fresh eyes, different approach, a new lead investigator. The Hardy family drove the investigation forward every step they could. Justice for D signs appeared across Lenawee County. Greg Hardy, who had been suspicious of Dale from the night he watched him bounce that ring, pushed every avenue he had. He testified. He called investigators. He refused to let the case go quiet. On August 17, 2023, D family formally petitioned a judge to declare her legally dead, both to force movement on her estate and to pressure the investigation forward. The court agreed in March 2024. On November 21, 2023, prosecutors made a decision that is vanishingly rare in American criminal law. They arrested Dale Warner and charged him with open murder. No body, no physical remains, no confirmed crime scene, just digital evidence, surveillance footage, financial records, behavioral evidence, and the conduct of a man who had never once, across 2.5 years, displayed a single moment of genuine grief for his missing wife. This was a gamble. A no-body murder prosecution requires the state to prove not just who killed someone, but that the person is even dead. The stakes of getting it wrong are enormous. The prosecutors in Lenawee County believed they had enough. As it turned out, they would not have to prove it without a body for long. On August 16, 2024, 855 days after Dale Warner had been arrested without a body, investigators executed a search warrant on a property Dale owned on Paragon Road, approximately 2 miles south of the Munger Road home. They were looking at anhydrous ammonia tanks. Detective Lieutenant Daniel Druyer of the Michigan State Police was at the scene. He testified about what happened when they opened tank number 34, a tank with a handwritten tag on its side reading "out of service" and "do not fill." When they opened it, Druyer said he could see something wrapped in a blue tarp. Inside the tarp were the remains of an adult female, wrapped in black duct tape, wearing pajama-like clothing, small pieces of jewelry, no shoes, no purse, no phone, no identification. The tank smelled of ammonia when opened. Dental records later confirmed the remains were those of D. Ann Warner. A welding expert testified at trial that the tank had been cut open with an abrasive cut-off wheel and re-welded using gas metal arc welding, the exact tools and techniques shown in the surveillance footage of Dale Warner at the property. The welds had been painted over, and a jail call played for the jury contained what may be the most damning single sentence in the entire case. After Dale's son Jaron told him that investigators had seized tank number 34 for X-ray screening, Dale was heard asking, "Is that the one we painted and put decals on?" The trial of Dale John Warner began February 12, 2026 in the 39th Circuit Court in Adrian, Michigan. Judge Michael Olsever presiding. More than 30 witnesses testified across 13 days. Prosecutor Jackie Wise built the case on layers: the iPad searches for tank disposal, the surveillance and drone footage of Dale moving the tank, the jail call, the digital evidence of Dale tracking his wife every movement, her phone cloned, her vehicles tracked, her location checked thousands of times, the testimony of Greg Hardy about the ring toss, the testimony of Dee's daughter about what her mother had said in the final months of her life. Wise told the jury that Dale Warner could have called 911 the night Dee died. He could have said, "I screwed up." He could have ended the family suffering at any point in 5 years. Instead, and these are the prosecutor words, he taped Dee Warner mouth and nose so she could not breathe. He put her inside a steel tank and welded it shut. He painted over the welds. He put a tag on the tank that said, "Out of service." Those were all conscious decisions, Wise said. The defense, led by Mary Chartier, maintained throughout the trial that no physical evidence directly placed Dale at a murder scene. They argued the searches were circumstantial, the surveillance footage open to interpretation. They described their client as a not very attentive husband who lacked a proven motive to kill rather than simply divorce. The jury deliberated for 9 hours across 2 days. On March 10th, 2026, the verdict was read. Second-degree murder, tampering with evidence, guilty on both counts. Dale Warner buckled slightly when the verdict was read, looked down. His defense attorney patted his arm. In the gallery, Dee family quietly cried and held each other. Greg Hardy, outside the courthouse after, tried to find words for 5 years of fighting. "I fought every day for 5 years. It was very difficult to get validation." Sentencing was May 7th, 2026. Dale Warner appeared in an orange jumpsuit, chained. When Judge Olsaver offered him a chance to speak, he shook his head. Greg Hardy did not decline. He had driven his sister investigation for 5 years. He had found her killer in a field, bouncing her wedding ring in his palm. He had testified. He had pushed and waited and refused to stop. He had done it for the sister who had gone missing on a Sunday morning and never come home. Now, in a Lenawee County courtroom, he stood in front of the man responsible. "You are a narcissistic, psychopathic, liar, and murderer. You are a spineless piece of human debris. I hope that the only way Dale Warner is able to leave prison is in a small, dark box. May God absolutely have no mercy on him whatsoever." Judge Olsaver sentenced Dale Warner to a minimum of 31 years, maximum 70, in Michigan State Prison. The murder and the tampering charges run consecutively. Dale Warner is 58 years old. He will be 89 at the end of his maximum sentence. The judge, at sentencing, delivered what has become the defining statement of this case. The tragedy of these events is immeasurable. At any time during those years, he could have ended the family suffering and chose not to. Dee Ann Warner was 52 years old. She had built businesses from the ground up. She had raised 5 children. She had recognized the danger she was in. She had watched Dateline every night and told her daughter what she feared. She had been right about all of it. And 5 years after she disappeared in a courtroom in Adrian, Michigan, so was Greg Hardy.